Sure, here we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining for another session of the season of AI. We have a special guest joining us from Hyderabad. Bhushan Bhushan is amongst the top tech talent that we have in the country. Bhushan would today be talking about how you can deploy your AI apps using Azure App Services. I will set the stage up for Bhushan, add his PowerPoint, and then move on. Over to you, Bhushan.
Hello everyone. As you know, as thanks for the introduction. So it as you know, my name is Bhushan Kapkar. I'm a senior data scientist. I'm working as a volunteer in Hyderabad Python user group, and also part of a PyCon India. So today I'm going to talk about it, how we deploy the AI app services on the Azure app service over there. So as we get to know that most of the time our app sits on our local host over there, and we are not able to share with our colleagues or with the companies, so inside the organization, and we wanted to share that piece of a work which we have done so far, and how do we make it live where other users can or can have access to that particular app. We are going to learn about that one, and how we are able to do that. We are going to learn more on that one set using the all Azure AI app over there. So today, for the agenda today, I will trying to introduction of deploy Health. What are the things as a demo app I am taking into the consideration? What are the infrastructure we are going to use over there? What are the prerequisites and the requirements we have for this particular app to make it live over there? How we are going to create and configure the app, and how we are, once we configure the app, how we are going to build and test the Docker image for it, and then we'll make it up and running. So for before that, once that Docker image is up and running over there, when we try to set up the Azure environment over there, and then further, once we have the Azure environment available with us, we'll be having a deploying that particular AI model into the Azure app service, and making sure that it has a smooth operations, configuring that particular image into the web app, and then further testing and try to see the demo of that particular app that we have been deployed so far. So we will go with this particular flow and try to understand more about it. Today, here is the app which I'm trying to do, is the where we try to have the interaction with our CSV, where we are trying to use the framework like a Microsoft Azure, Open Azure Open AI, Streamlit, and the Pandas AI over there. So in that particular scenario, you will able to upload the CSV which is available with us near to the 200 MB, and you could ask any questions to that particular CSV, and it will try to give the answers from that particular app. So that's how we are trying to use that one. So we are using the Pandas AI library over there, using the Azure Open AI services. Uh, as a Streamlit, we'll be using for the front end over there. So for what are the interactions and the UI we will be using is just for the Streamlit over there. And at the end, once we have that everything up and running over there, we'll be using the Azure benefits of the Azure app service over there, where we could upload this entire web app from our local system to the web over there, and then we'll make able to use that particular app over there. So these are the frameworks we should be using, and these are the tech stacks we are been placing over there. So going forward over there, so what are the entire infrastructure, as you could see that this is entire infrastructure reading on the is the user which we are will trying to use, that one which are be involved in that process, the code which will be there available with us, the Docker file which will be help to build the entire image for us, and the web app service. So there will be the flow. From there we'll try to push our code to the we'll build our code, and then we'll build our Docker image, and then push our code to the app service over there. So that's how we build the infrastructure over there. So these are the prerequisites and the requirements for you to have getting it started, or for this particular make things up and running. So you should have the Azure app subscription with us. So there could be the pay as a go, where whatever the service you will be using, you have to pay for that, or maybe you will get 200 credit if you are a new user, so you can use that one. You should have the Python installed on your local system, so that whenever you start working on your local host, it should be you should able to take. test it over there. The Docker desktop for us, because once we create that local app, we have to create a Docker build image for it, and then we'll able to make sure that our Docker image is up and running on our local system, so that when it's up and running on the web, it does not face any issue. So the image, whatever things we wanted to debug and other things, we'll be able to do in a Docker desktop. The Azure command line will be helping us to deploy our code into the Azure ACR command line. So we'll able to do the easy logins and other things, setting up the environments for the Azure or there. So this will be useful for us to set up the things. So these are the prerequisite for us to making sure that whenever we start running over there, we have all these things in place for us. um, so this is how our app will look like. You could see there is a chat with CSV powered by OpenAI. You could see at the bottom where we could ask questions to it, and at the left side we have the browse CSV file, so where you could upload the CSV file into that one. And once you upload the CSV file to it, you will be able to see what are the files you have been uploaded over there. You will be able to see that particular data frame in your front end over there. And from that particular front end, you can ask questions to it. You could ask any questions to it, you will be able to get the response to it on your own data. It's easy for us to ask any specific question, because it might take some time for us to get the any analysis if you are on the local systems to analyze over there. So this helps us to uh, LLM helps us to get any answers from your CSV over there. So they are as we on the first slide, we have seen the what are these things which we have used for our models, which we use for our app over there. So this is how we try to use the Streamlit as the one of the Python library, front end library, which with help of which we are able to make the app. The Pandas AI to configure our configure our LLMs. So as we are using a chat GPT over here, so this will be the two different libraries which will be required for us. So this is the part of a requirement txt to set up the environments for us. So that's how we will be setting up the environment for the on our local system. So make sure that this app is up and running over there. I will share the code of or the GitHub repository with for this particular app. That could be useful for you to make sure that it's up and running over there. Once you have this particular app file, so it's very important for us to make sure that the the app which is running on your local system, it should be able to run on your Docker file as well. So you have a Docker desktop with available with you. So it generally have the 7 lines of a commands. Here we are trying to take a 7 lines of a commands to build our Docker file. You could see where we could see the prom is the Python module file from Python base image, which we are taking over there, 3.10 over there. We are trying to expose our port to 8501 over there, where we're trying to expose our image, Docker image. We are trying to set up our working directory over there, so we could set working directory backslash app. We have seen the in the previous slide there was a requirement dot txt over there. The requirement dot txt was having a Streamlit library, and we also having these uh, particular pandas AI library as well. So in that particular library, it will be part of this copy requirement txt over there. And if once we have that particular copy requirement txt, you could see we are trying to install this particular requirement txt in our environment. So whichever the libraries and the dependencies are being required for it, it will be trying to have that particular dependency on it. We'll try to get that things over there. We are trying to copy the all the codes over there from current directory to the target directory over there. We are on the same directory, that's why we are taking two dots over there. Along with that, we have to make sure that we are trying to run this particular command line over there. So generally, will generally normal files are run with the python.py over there. But for this particular Streamlit app, you always have to run the put the Streamlit as a fun as at fast first, and then Streamlit run app.py. This will make sure that your Docker file is up and running. So this how we will be having our entire Docker file up available with us. So next step is to build a container image for it. So where we try to use this particular command line, where we try to build the Docker image for this. So once you have a Docker in your command in your desktop installed, you could check just typing the Docker whether it's installed or not. And once it's been successfully validated that it's been installed, you could go into your working directory where you have kept your code, like cd and the particular a certain particular working directory to the place. You could write once you are in that particular working directory where your entire code has been there, the Streamlit code app.py, Docker file image, requirement.txt, all files are available at that particular one place. You will be running your code docker build dash f Docker file, and with the tags app.latest over there, or in that particular in that particular working directory. That's what we mention as a dot over there, because we are on the same folder where we are trying to do that. Once that is done, it will start running the process. It will start running the steps by steps for your app, making sure that all the requirements files are been installed it over there. It will set up it will install the Python 3.10. It will expose your 8501 port over there, setting up the requirement.txt files in that one. And then once it is working over there, once the Docker file is been built for your in your system, you have to make sure that it's up and running. So as we have been exposed our 8501 port, so that's why we are trying to run this particular image, docker run the process 8501 and the app, and with the latest as a tag over there. So that's how we will be making sure that our app is up and running with the help of a local host backslash 8501. So whatever the app you have been built over there, you could you could be able to make sure that it's up and running over there. So that's how we'll try to build the entire Docker image for it. So once it is working fine, you have been debugged. If you are not facing any challenge, you are good that you're confident that your Docker file is up and running within a Docker in your local host. That's how we try to get up into the next step of your process over there. Where what we will be try to see that whatever the Docker image we have created so far, we'll try to push that Docker image into our Azure services. So now we'll try to go and explore our Azure services which we are trying to use for our models, for our deploying our web app. Yeah, so this is how you set up your Azure environment over there. You go to your Azure environment in the portal.azure.com. In that particular portal, you will be signed with your account of once you have set up the account with the particular credit and other things, credit card, or with the or which you have the already exhausted. So you might have login over there. So once you are available with in that app, you go at the top of the particular app, you can see the container registry. You search for the container registry over there. In the once you go and search the container registry, you will able to find this container registry over there. Click on that container registry over there. You will able to see this particular the next image which you could see on your portal. So once you have the create container registry, where you have to create your resource group. You can create your resource group by clicking on which you already have pay as go, or the which has subscription as a pay as go out there, and your resource group as whatever you could give the name for it, which is suitable for your project, which could you easily identified in the future. Put your resource group, put your container registry name. So what the container registry name will be useful for us for the deployments and other things. So use that. This container registry will be unique to this particular container over there, but the same resource group can be used to the multiple places over there. So if you're trying to use another service, you could use the same resource group over there. So this resource group is unique for the is a can be used multiple ways in a different Azure app service, Azure services over there. Whether you are building the Azure web app, whether it's using the storage or anything, you could use this particular resource group over there. But the container registry will be only limited to this particular container over there. We'll use this container registry over there, and then with this particular container registry, we'll able to create review and create the registry of them. So once we have the once you once you have the container registry over there, once you have the container registry over there, that we could use a container registry over there, and with the particular container registry you can do a create over there, and where you have your container registry created for your system. So you will be able to get into the place where you could see the container, whatever the container registry you have created, and where you wanted to push your images for your system over there. Once you have a container registry over there, so since we wanted to also, we are going to use the another service of your Azure is the Azure um, Azure web app over there. So we'll try to make sure that Azure web app is up and running over there. So app service is there. Uh, then once it's then once we have this app service running over there, you could create your basic app over there, and then with that particular create service app, you enter the name of your app you wanted to have for your for your web app. You could write any specific name for it which suits to your use case. The plan details which can be the basic or some standard ones, so which costing certain amount of a time, so that will be happening like that. So that will be using the Azure app service plan over there. So that's how you created Azure app services. Now what we have done so far is we already have our app up and running in our local system, which we are deployed, which we have make sure that it is running in our Docker image. It's up and running over there. Now when it's Docker image is up and running, we had made sure that whatever the Azure resources or the Azure app service are there will be there, is up and running as well. So we have the Azure container service, Azure web app, so which is available with us. So now what the important step is to deploy our Azure the image, Docker image, from our local system to the Azure container service over there. So that's as in the prerequisite we also mentioned about the Azure command line over there. In Azure command line we have this particular things which you try to do az login. So az login will try to open your default browser. It will go to your into default browser and try to make sure that it logins to your system. You might have a multiple subscription IDs for it. So try to set the subscription on which you are created your resources for it. So like Azure account set subscription IDs for it, to make sure that you have AZ, your subscription has been correctly set for it. You could do the AZ account show, which will help make sure that your the subscription which you have been used for it, it's been correctly selected or there. Once that is up and running, that you make the correct selection, the next step is to how do you push the local image or the Docker image which is residing in your local system to the container or ACR container registry. If you remember that here what we are trying to use is the az is the command for the Azure login or the any of the Azure command line. The ACR is for the as we are trying to use the ACR service, we are trying to build the registry. So as I mentioned that for the container registry we have given the unique name for the container registry. That's how we try to put your container registry name over here. We'll add the resource group, the resource group which we have set at the initial step of it. This can be multiple use or there. We'll try to use that resource group, and the your image, your Docker image which you are trying to push over there. So that's how you try to create your entire command line for it. And with this particular command line, you will be able to push your image from your local system to your Azure Container Services. So making sure that you have in the container registry, you have that particular, in the container registry you will have the repositories over there. In that particular repository you will be having this particular image for it. So that's how I set up the Azure ACR build registry. This is the one which I have already set up: Azure AI container registry resource group, Azure AI resource group, and the image with the Azure AI MVP image over there, and with the help of a dots, because since we are using on the same local directory. So that's how you try to build your image. So now your image of your app is sitting into the Azure Container Service, but it needs something to pull that image to make sure that your app is up and running over there. So because this Azure app will have the repositories which available only on the Azure Container Service, so we have to pull that image into the Azure web app. With that we'll able to make it up and running over there. So that's how we're trying to do that in this particular to pull that particular Azure web app from ACR image to the Azure web app. We have to go to this Azure app services over there. In that particular app service we'll have the deployment center. In that deployment center we could go into the service over there, and in that deployment center, once we have within in the deployment center, we could select the managed identity over there. And that particular managed identity, we could select the ACR image which we have pushed over there. If you go and if you see over here the ACR image, the ACR MVP image, there is a tag which will be there. We'll have to select the latest tag over there, and we have to just save the information over there. Once this particular, once you save the image, it will take nearly 4 to 5 minutes for you to that particular image to make up and running for you for your service over there. So wait for 4 to 5 minutes that to pull that image and make sure that it's up and running. Probably if as a default, certain times we have the nginx over there where we could see that particular nginx image for it, and till that particular our own app is get set for it. So that's how we'll be deploying our ACR image to the web app. So this is how we'll be able to see. If you see, this is the AI chat link over there where I deployed my Azure website.net. We will able to see the demo after once I done with this one. So we could see or there we could upload our CSVs for it. Any of your CSV, we can easily upload it. You could ask a question into the NLP over there, and then you could get the answer. So now we will quickly jump on to our demo. So in that particular demo we'll able to see what is been running over there, and try to see what we could do over there. So yeah, I'm just going now on my on the things where we try to see getting onto the demo. So if you see, this is the this is the app which is up and running. So you could see the AI chat with CSV Azure website.net. So where our app is up and running. What are the things which we are deployed out there? Now it's up and running. We could browse the file from it. We could go uh, downloads into that one. We could see any of your file. You could, I just took one of the sample file out there. You could once it's been available with us, you could see this, what are the data which you have available with us. So this is the data which is, this is the just FNO stocks data, or it could be any of the data you wanted to upload. So it tells about what are the different symbols, what are the market capital for it, what are the sectors for that particular companies. Like we have the Bajaj Finance is for the finance, licensing finance for the finance there. So this is the data available with us, and if you wanted to ask any questions so there, so we could simply ask uh, the question like we could type the questions like tell me the capital names count. So what are the counts are there, what are the different companies count, we could get it. So we could ask a questions to it, and it will run in a backend, it will use that particular data frame. It will get you the large capital, what is the things which, what are the number of companies which you have been there. So there are nearly 2804 as a large cap company, 220 as your mid cap company over there. If you wanted to use this one as this count of the sectors, so you could see there are different sectors available with us. We wanted to get the count of the sectors, so you could just ask and send a message and use the count of the sector over there. So there are how many total counts of the sector, so we have these particular 18 counts in the particular sector. So that's how we try to get the data out there. So this is the basic app. You could build any of your app which suits for your case, whether it could the RAG based models, or whether it's more complicated large language based models. So that's how from the which are the apps which is sitting on your local system, can you make it up and running, and you could share with your colleagues and make sure that to get their feedbacks, to have a hands on, so that they give you suggestions, and they could try that things out by their own, and make sure things are up and running. So yeah, so this how you try to make sure that your app is up and running over there. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Bhushan. It was pretty insightful.
Okay.
Uh, Thank you for doing this on a Sunday evening. I know your kid was demanding your attention. We took some time. Thank you so much. We'll let you go.
Yeah.
I'll end this stream and then we chat for 1 hour.